Hi, Naima. How are you?
I am well. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm happy that we're going to have this conversation, and I'm going to start with your bio. I'm
Mhm.
here with Naima Dutton of Anaya Birth. Naima is a birth keeper who walked away from medical midwifery so that she could support women in alignment with her own values. She now works outside the medical system, facilitating spaces for women to process their past birth experiences, unpack their fears, and prepare for upcoming births in sovereignty. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, Naima?
No, no, it's all good.
Okay, good. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it looks like to help women process their past birth experiences? Are you talking about their own birth experience coming out of the womb or past birth experience giving birth to maybe their first child or both?
Yeah, I mean, in theory it would be both, right? But I haven't had experience of speaking through women's experiences of actually being born. I've been, interestingly enough, doing some work on my own self and kind of like reflecting on how I was born. But my work mainly consists of really sitting with women and hearing their stories of birthing their own children.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a powerful thing. I mean, it could be called like birth debriefing, birth related trauma debriefing, but really it's just sitting and hearing women uninterrupted share their stories exactly
Hmm.
as they experience them
Yeah.
and creating a container where that can be held and where we can like gently process the little things that are like irritating you or you're questioning about the story. Um, and yeah, kind of working through that to see
Yeah.
what comes up from that, what we can learn from what happened.
Right. That's step one. If you've had a
Mhm.
birth that didn't go so well, or even if it went beautifully and there was something in you that says, you know what, I feel like I want something different for baby number two.
Mhm.
Just to be able to sit and share the story and come to the wisdom on your own
Mhm.
of what could be different and what you now see, hindsight is 2020, what you would
Yeah,
want. And so kind of, I guess, creating that space for the
yeah,
mama.
completely. And it's one of those things where societies long gone, this would have been so normal. A woman has a baby and everyone gathers around her and sees her and she tells the story, right? And she tells it again and again and again. And that speaking the story helps to process and integrate this massive journey that she's just been on.
Yeah.
Yeah, to meet her baby.
Right. And we generally don't have opportunities like that because we birth alone. We birth in a
Hmm.
hospital system with the doctor who doesn't even know you sometimes. And then you go home with the baby. Welcome. Yeah, here you go. Bye. And it's
Yeah,
it's very isolating and confusing and scary.
yeah,
Can be. But it could be something completely different. This is why we're having this conversation. Okay.
yeah.
In your About Me section on your website, you write that in the 3 years of working within the NHS as a student, what you witnessed broke your heart into many tiny pieces, with each woman being stripped of the rite of passage that belonged to her. Can you please share some of those instances?
Yeah. Um, yeah, goodness me. So, so many. I think, I mean, it's difficult to think about specific instances to explain because the entire system is, and from my experience, was structured in such a way that like none of the births were being um honored for this like beautiful rite of passage that was occurring, right? Because
Hmm.
I mean, the technocratic system, can really just sees the mother and the baby as these machines, and it's very structured protocol. This does it doesn't allow much space for the practitioners who are there, like the midwives, doctors who are, supporting the birth to happen. Doesn't really allow them space to step back and just be amazed by the miraculous thing that's happening. So, I mean, I don't really think any of the births were really like supporting the ritual of honoring the birth of a baby and the birth of a mother. I mean, the specific
Because
examples, yeah, really just
because in the
include.
system, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
in the
Yeah,
system, they're operating from a place of fear.
yeah.
And so the intention is not to welcome this child in a place of safety and
Mhm.
warmth and nurturing. It's more like already they're they're intending for something to go wrong and they want to fix it before it's even started.
Yeah. And that's drilled into you in the training. It's like you're told to at every given moment think about what could happen so that you're one step ahead if it does.
That already takes you out of being present.
Right? Yeah, you can't be like what the job demands of you, you can't be present because you have too many other things to think about. It's so confusing because I was there as a student often, especially at the moment of birth, just like jaw on the floor. Wow, I cannot believe what I just witnessed. Like pausing, the mother's interacting with her baby, she's seeing her baby, they're speaking, and I'm just like, wow, in a stunned. And then the midwife I'm working with, come on, Naima, like next task, quick, quick, like get the towels, rub the baby, get the resuscitator ready just in case, all of these things. And it's like, I'm just witnessing look at the mom's bleeding. Is she bleeding too much? Is it okay? Like, you need to be thinking, this is how I'm getting coached. And I'm just like, am I doing something wrong? It didn't feel so wrong to just, be amazed by this thing that's happening. But yeah, it's absolutely just the training.
And just that energy, the
Yeah.
energy, because we in society previously, we're trained not to be in the presence
Mhm.
and we don't understand the oneness and the energy that everybody collectively puts together in experiences. And so if you've got these adults in the room that have this energy that they can't be present because they're thinking about all the things that could go wrong, when you bring a baby into that space, that's
Mhm.
confusing for the
Yeah.
baby who has
Mhm.
just exited this nice, warm cocoon and is coming out and now is being bombarded by
Mhm.
all this crazy energy, like not able to relax, stressful
Mhm.
energy that impacts the baby. Absolutely. And we don't
Yeah.
talk about these things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
in hospitals
Mhm.
in the UK, do they not have, are there no birthing hospitals that have a birthing pool or anything like that?
So, oddly enough, the instance that I'm thinking of that I just explained previously, this was in a birthing center. So this was in like a low risk midwifery-led unit where it's a home away from home. They had beautiful birthing pools. The bed wasn't a hospital bed, it was just an ordinary bed, birthing balls, all of the things, right? Like the and the woman had a beautiful birth. Like she birthed her baby, she didn't need any help. It was beautiful. And then as soon as the baby's here, it's like this rush of energy, this stress in the room for no reason because
Mhm.
she's, managing well.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
I guess that's where your role would come in is to help parents
Mm,
understand that they always have a choice and they can voice what they want.
mm,
So, in these instances, if you know that after birth, the experience tends to be a little bit rushed because of protocol or whatever, those are just protocols. And as the person giving birth, you can state, after my baby comes, I want to be left alone for an
mm.
hour, or I
Yeah.
want to be left alone. And at that point, the birthing center or the hospital can say, well, that's not part of our protocol. We won't be able to assist you,
Yeah.
right? And then you'll have to just come up with something different, home birth.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
maybe you'll be able to find a place that says, okay, I think we can do that.
Hmm.
And we'll just monitor on the side. And if there's
Hmm.
something that happens, we'll be available. But yes, you will get that hour.
Mm. Yeah, I
It's
think,
taking agency. It's
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the problems that I witnessed within the UK context is also just the fact that the care itself is just within the NHS, free healthcare for all of the like citizens. It's completely fragmented the way that the midwifery system works. So at your appointments, you're gonna most likely see the same midwife during your pregnancy, but it might be a different midwife every single appointment. Then you attend birth in the birth center, hospital, home, wherever, but you're going to be seen by whichever midwife happens to be on call for that day. And then afterwards, a different midwife every single time. So you see maybe like 20, 30 people throughout the whole, time. And it's really difficult, I think, to create plans or state in advance, this is what I want, because you might have an appointment with the midwife, antenatally, and you say, this is what I want at my birth. Would they be able to offer me that at the birth center? She will be like, yeah, you know what? There's no reason why not, just voice it. But then when you come into the birth
Mhm.
center and you're in labor and you're pushing your baby, you're not in the headspace to be like, oh, actually, after birth, I want this and this is, and there isn't the space and time beforehand to communicate that to the woman who's going to be with you at your birth, which is just such a, it's so annoying. I think the whole thing would work so much better if there was just like one midwife
Oh
for
my
one
gosh.
woman
If
to
we
build a
had, right.
relationship.
If we had a
Yeah,
like a penny for every time someone said it would just work so much better if we'd be
yeah,
millionaires.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, are you allowed to just hire a midwife? So like in the US, you have a midwife and that midwife is with you for the entire time, right?
yeah.
From the minute you find out you're pregnant until you give birth and after. It's the same
Mhm.
person, right? Are you allowed to do that in the UK?
Yeah. You're allowed to for sure. I think the tricky thing is that we're not used to paying for healthcare.
Yeah, I
Um,
see.
so if you were to hire a midwife, of course, that would be an independent midwife. I think it's a
Hmm.
yeah, great option for women to choose, but then they have to, you know, fork out a large sum of money. And a lot of women think, oh, is it really necessary? Like, do I really need that when I can just access the NHS free? So I think
Right.
that's where the difficulty comes in. People are like, oh, payment. I mean, I think it's a thing worth investing in, but I also totally appreciate that not everyone has the luxury of that money because midwives have to pay extortionate insurance fees as well.
Yeah.
So their fees are often
Mhm.
a lot higher than what they would themselves get paid because they have to then pay off their insurance as well. Mm.
All the barriers.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please share? I don't know if you can, but can you please share a little bit
Yeah.
about the process that you take women through that do have fears in birthing?
Yeah. I think I am yet to come across a woman who does not have fears about
Right.
birth. I myself carry fears of birth, fears of even, being with women in birth. Am I gonna do the right thing, say the right thing? All these things. I think it's such a normal
Yeah.
reaction to a, a thing that's in the unknown,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I think every single woman I've worked with has come up with fears, and sometimes they come up and they change over time as well. Um, yeah, my process of breaking down fears is really just providing a landscape for them to be acknowledged without needing to be removed. Because I think that we don't, that the goal is not to eliminate fear, right? Like where fear just exists, it's a feeling that moves through us. It's not wrong. It's, our body communicating certain things to us from our past experiences and everything that we've inherited. And it's very functional in a lot of ways. So in working with women, I really just allow space for women to speak them, to voice their fears, hear their fears because when we voice them and we like bring them into the forefront of our consciousness, we have the playground and the space to kind of, ask ourselves more questions around the fears. Break them down. Where is
Yes.
this fear coming from? Is this something because I feel like my intuition is saying there's danger here, or is this just
Right.
fear because I've been told to be fearful of this my entire life? Did I
Right.
inherit this from the media? Is this a story that passed through from my mother? XYZ, the possibilities are limitless.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it really starts there, acknowledging the fear, accepting that it doesn't need to be gone, and then
Yes.
working with, okay, what can we learn from this? Because I think when we can bring the fears more into the front of our consciousness, feel the emotions that are associated with them, provide space for us to make decisions that
Mhm.
are not unconsciously driven by fear.
Right. Right. And you're validating the fear.
Yeah.
And what I love about your process is that it puts the mama in the driver's seat and
Yeah.
it helps her to dive more into her intuition,
Yeah.
which is going to be so powerful and needed as you step into motherhood.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
the main the main nugget that every mother needs to access if they
Mm.
want to have to bring a child into the world. You must be strong in your intuition and practice that muscle. And so
Yeah.
walking through this process with you helps them to really dial in their intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me if you feel that your initial calling into this space was
Mm.
maybe because it was at a subconscious level.
Mm.
Because you, as you explained earlier, in your studies, you were having this visceral reaction to what was happening to mothers. Right. And that doesn't happen to a lot of people. Some people just take for granted what's in front of them and they accept it. But you had this internal just irritation at what was
Yeah.
happening. And so do you think that it's like you have this deep connection to the souls that are coming in
Mm.
that you're witnessing being suppressed in their full expression? Like, have you ever given that any thought? Because, synchronicities and our divine callings in life, do you feel, because you even tell a story about when you witnessed your niece being born, and
Mm.
just some people can see it and witness it as just a birth, and okay, this is a process of life coming in, but you have this strong tie to
Mm.
what can be beautiful for the coming in of new souls.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, such a big question. I think, oh, yeah, I think absolutely there is so much to be said for honoring the coming in of new life and really just, yeah, honoring that with so much reverence for what is happening on like every single plane of existence because it's massive. And I mean, I think anyone who's been in a room of birth with any level of consciousness, I think can taste that. There's an energy that's very, very powerful. And I think that um oh, it's just so important to honor that. I mean, the way that babies are born does shape, the lives that they're going to live, and the way that they tell, their stories even as they're born, how they're born, and how like in which ways, things unfold, I think really like sets a precedent for their lives. And I mean, oh, the story of how I came into birth work is so long and so many different things, but I mean, a huge part of it was the study that I did in child development and the looking into like early relational bonds and how that, is absolutely foundational for the future development of healthy children. And then I looked into the work of Michel Audin, who, French obstetrician, spoke a lot about the oxytocin factor and how oxytocin during birth, you know, creates that, early bonding between the mother and the baby and how that really has such an impact, um, yeah, for their whole lives.
Question:
Yeah.
oxytocin that is created during the birthing process.
Do you know?
Because when you're giving birth, like, how was that?
Yeah, I mean, oxytocin is like this huge hormone of birth. It causes the uterus to contract. It causes the uterus to contract. It causes milk to be like released from the breasts. It's also the hormone that um bonds people and creates this feeling of like deep love and care for yeah, people are, I mean, oxytocin is like released when you hug people. It's the hormone that's released during orgasm. It's this hormone of love, really, which is secreted at all times in life, really. But in labor, it's like ramped up big time because that's what causes the uterus to contract and to push out the baby. And it's just such a divine creation that would be ramping up at, approaching the portal where the baby is going to be born and then you're going to meet your baby. And at birth is the biggest peak of oxytocin that you will ever experience in your entire life.
So that doesn't happen if you have a C-section.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen
Oh,
when you inject a woman with artificial oxytocin either.
epidural?
No, 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 like an
Oh,
augmentation bar or like a drip to help contractions speed
oh,
up
do they
or
do that?
injection to
Okay.
deliver a placenta. These are
Uh-huh.
all very, very common practices. In fact, most women giving birth within like a medical establishment of any kind will have an injection to deliver their placenta. And this
Oh,
injection is an artificial version of the hormone that the body naturally produces. But the injection, the artificial version, does not cross the blood-brain barrier. So it does not have the same impact on the bonding between the mother and the baby.
right, right. I see. Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder if that's
Yeah,
the case in US hospitals as well, if they give that artificial oxytocin. And it's
sure it is.
is it because they're giving it because they just don't have the time for the mother to actually push the placenta out themselves? I mean, what is the point of
There's partially that because it massively speeds up the process. And the other reason is because through studies, they say it minimizes the risk of bleeding or having like a big bleed or a hemorrhage after birth. So it's kind of given what they call prophylactically, so like to prevent a problem from happening.
but the problem chances are aren't going to happen. I see.
I
I
mean, it
mean,
can
again, we're
happen.
we're yeah, we're back to
It
this
can happen when
fear-based
you
system.
medically manage births and then,
Yeah.
this disintegration after birth can cause big bleeds as well, which is
Yeah,
happening a lot within the hospital as well. So it's tricky to like isolate one thing from another because it's all interconnected.
of course.
But it's given as well automatically after a C-section, definitely. Because if you imagine like the uterus has been cut, then after birth, it that's a lot of work to the drip is just given immediately to help the uterus contract to minimize blood loss during a C-section because bleeding, you're more likely to have a big bleed after a surgery.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah. I mean, we just don't know of what's happening within the medical system
Mm.
because we're not told.
Mm.
There's just
And most of them,
no
yeah,
there's no transparency to
yeah,
know what's happening. I mean, I had a
yeah,
C-section and I had no idea. I mean, I never just never gave it a thought until I was
yeah.
telling my sister-in-law about how, yeah, I never got my baby placed on my chest. First of all, I fell asleep right after the C-section,
Mhm.
and secondly, it was a C-section, and she was like, "Oh, well, of course, because they literally take out your insides." Put it off to the side, pull your baby out. And I was like, what? I mean, I guess that makes sense. I didn't even think about it, but like, what? That is crazy.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's just so much to think about when you want to bring a baby into this world. And it's a shame that C-sections are so prevalent. And it's
Mm.
because the way the medical system approaches birth is just like you said, it's very mechanistic.
Mhm.
And so as a mother, when I was giving birth, I was not participating in it. because I didn't know. I didn't know better.
Yeah.
So it's really great to have more of these people like you in the space that can really help mothers to intentionally bring their child in.
Yeah. I think the word intention is completely spot on.
Yeah.
To be able to make decisions with with intention and, you know, in alignment with your beliefs and what you want as an outcome. Yeah, it's just the goal for me anyway, to support women with.
Right. And probably the goal for most people that work in the birthing space.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, as I'm describing not having intention when I was giving birth in a medical system, I almost feel like the medical system, in and of itself, the practice of it really, what am I trying to say, is more like there isn't an intention when you go in for anything because you're just expecting the doctor to fix everything.
Yeah.
So there's not that intention of really listening to the body and saying, this is the body speaking to me. I
Hmm.
can work through it. And with people like you, if I have fears,
Mm.
let's hold space for this fear. Let's acknowledge it and integrate it somehow. And then if you really feel like you could use some support on the medical scale, maybe you step in, but
Yeah.
very rarely when people go into the medical system is their intention.
Yeah.
They're just as sort of like, give me the pill to fix
Yeah.
it.
Hmm. And the staff working in the medical system are again not really there with much intention. It's they are running off the protocols that they've learned, that
Right.
it's very rhythmic, you know, it's very methodical in how things are done. It's I mean, even I think that language is so important as well. And even in the language with which um doctors and midwives speak about the women they're caring for is very telling. I think it's, you know, and I did it as well when I was a student. I used the same language, but it's kind of like, oh, my lady. Oh, my lady in room th the lady in room 3, you know, like we don't even give them names because it's one after another and it's very disconnected because you're just enacting a job. It becomes that like a what could be a very deep spiritual calling becomes just a job.
Yeah.
And that has, yeah, implications, and it's easier to do the job when you can disconnect,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Right. You almost have to disconnect.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting? Because that's literally the same protocol as in conventional schools, public
Yeah. It's
schools.
there everywhere. Hmm.
As a teacher, you have every intention to support every child in front of you. I believe every teacher loves children and that's why they become teachers. But then they get in the system and they're inundated with all the protocols and the rules and all the things that they
Hmm.
have to disassociate in order to keep their own sanity and
Hmm.
help the children as best that they can with the tools they don't have.
Yeah. Oh, you're so right. And what makes it like so heartbreaking is the women, the teachers, they love children. Like they have good hearts. They're there to do good, but they don't have the resources or the tools or all of it. And then like you just always come short.
Yeah.
So within that structure, within that system, like you cannot be fully like integral as a human being. And it's the
Right.
exact same in the hospital. It's like I don't want to bad talk midwives, doctors, because I know so many midwives and doctors. I love them so much, and I know that they're there doing what they think is the absolute best for the women with what they have.
Right.
But like I'm just there thinking like that within that structure, you just don't have the capacity to really deliver at the level that I think like women deserve and like in schools like children deserve. It's
Right.
so difficult. Mm.
Yeah. And we're at this place where there's so many people doing the work of bringing it back.
Yeah.
So somebody like you who is bringing it
Mm.
back, bringing the intention back into birthing. There are people who
Mm.
have stepped out of the school system, parents who are
Yeah.
bringing the intention of educating their children back to themselves
Mhm.
and really doing the work of deprogramming. Why are we even teaching these things? What's the most important? What are our values? And it always comes back to, like you're saying, the questions around the fears.
Yeah.
This is how we get to the root of ourselves
Mm.
and intuition and what
Mhm.
our child's soul is calling for. The
Mm.
children that are coming in are so advanced and so full of
Mhm.
wisdom that they are literally demanding that the energy around them shifts.
Mm. It's incredible. You really do see how children of different generations have got these things in common. And they're, yeah, you're right. The new
This
little ones
group,
coming in are real strong.
they're real strong.
So
It's
funny.
so magical just to
Mm.
see and also to witness the parents that continue to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
to deprogram, because we don't want that authoritative model anymore. We see, we see that in every aspect of our relational interactions, there needs to be respect
Mm.
of the soul within.
Mm.
And that definitely applies to our children.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do because, you're stepping out of a system and you're creating new systems.
Mm.
And it's a little bit scary, but also we can do hard things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just the more that you do what you do and share that intention with the mamas, the more they're going to feel inspired. And this just kind of builds momentum because the experience is so joyful
Yeah.
and raw.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's like I just want women to see that light, you know? It can be something so, I mean, I think in ways it always is beautiful, but yeah, it can be like an enjoyable experience that you're like, oh my goodness, wow. You know, it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be this thing that's just like you need to endure, you know? Yeah.
Right. Right. And just, oh, we're having a baby. We go to the hospital, of course. And the
Mm.
hospital takes care of everything. And they do.
Mm.
But then you walk away and there isn't quite that bond. And
Yeah.
there's just a little bit of trauma.
Yeah. And you
And
walk
that,
away broke, like with pieces of yourself broken rather than intact as a mother.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your work is very important.
Yeah, thank you.
It begins with the mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Sorry.
that begins with ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's finding that just our finding finding our own intuition.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this conversation.
Yeah.
Is there
Thank you
anything
for having me.
else? Is there anything else you wanted to
No,
add before we end our time together?
I feel all complete. I feel good.
Great. Perfect. Well, then I thank you for the work that you do, and I look forward to all the beautiful souls that you'll be stewarding in.
Mm.
And hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.